debate.
So,
when
Mr.
you
President,
win the debate, I don't know that I want to do another debate.
Right. So you do, right at the end, as I was interrupting. So you don't know if you want to do another debate. It sounds like you're a no.
Well, I'd be less inclined to, because we had a great night. We won the debate. We had a terrible network. I think they were terrible. They should be embarrassed. I mean, they kept correcting me, and what I said was largely right, or I hope it was right. But what they said was absolutely wrong. The other, what she said, and they refused to correct. I even complained a couple of times. Why aren't you correcting them? Mm-hmm. Look, they should have corrected 6 or 7 times. She told an outright lie. Another one is Project 2025. They know it has nothing to do with me. She mentioned it all night long, and they refused to correct it. And everybody knows I have nothing to do with Project 2025.
Okay. I will just one thing.
But I am not inclined to do it because I won the debate by a lot. But I think we let it settle in and let's see what happens. Kamala doesn't do any shows. She doesn't do interviews. She doesn't talk to people. She doesn't do anything like that. And that's not fair to the public because they don't know what they're getting. But they saw last night what they had. They had a rigged show with somebody that maybe even had the answers. I mean, I'll be honest. I watched her talk, and I said, she seems awfully familiar with the questions, and you get pretty good at that stuff after a while. But when I saw how totally rigged that was, I take a look at it, and I watch, and I say, you have to get out there. And one of the things I did is I said, let's do this show at, what time is it, 6:30 in the morning. And it's an honor to do it. But you have to go out and you have to do the shows.
Now, if you're wondering whether Donald Trump actually won the debate, let's do this fairly. We can use the test that was set forth by Republican Congressman Mike Collins. You want to know who won? Find out who refuses to do a second debate. Well, guess that settles that. As for Kamala's campaign, even Sean Hannity admits that Kamala was more than willing to do it again.
Her campaign is saying tonight, Washington Post is reporting, that she wants a second debate. What's your answer?
She lost. She wants it because she lost.
Do you have an answer?
Well, I don't know. I have to think about it. But if you won the debate, I sort of think maybe I shouldn't do it. Why should I do another debate? She immediately said, we want another debate. That's, what happens when you're a prize fighter and you lose? You immediately want a new fight.
You want a rematch.
You want a rematch. The guy that won is sort of happy and thinking about it.
Would you be inclined to say yes, or you
maybe
don't know?
If it was on a fair network, I would do that. But
I think let Hannity moderate it.
Yeah, no, I think
like I did Newsom and Ron DeSantis.
I think it would be fair. You would be fair, actually.
I would be
you
fair.
Want to know the truth.
I'd let you both talk. I'd let you go at each other.
I thought they would be fair. They weren't, but I felt very comfortable.
Yeah.
We have the best policy. She has no policy.
You gotta love Donald Trump explaining away Kamala's challenge by claiming that when someone wins, they don't want to do it again. But let's take a look at this Fox News article. Trump challenges Biden to second presidential debate. I think we can all clearly understand and acknowledge that Donald Trump won the debate against Joe Biden, and what was the very first thing he did? He challenged Joe Biden to another debate. So much for the prize fighter wanting to just sit in his victory, huh, Donald? Now, going back to the initial clip, notice how Trump was blaming ABC. First of all, when you are blaming the moderators, you're losing. Sorry, I know it works against Democrats too, but it's the reality. You start casting blame on everybody else, and you look weak, and you look like you lost. That's just the reality. But beyond that, was it the moderators who forced Donald Trump to do this?
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money, and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now.
Did the moderators force Trump to frantically claim that doctors are killing babies after they're born? To claim that immigrants are eating pet dogs and cats? To take the bait about his crowd size? About his dad giving him money? The parts that turned the American people away from Donald Trump had nothing to do with the moderators. They had everything to do with the candidate, Donald Trump himself. And then, of course, Donald Trump had claimed that Kamala had the questions in advance. Now, obviously, Kamala didn't have the questions, but it really does betray how incapable Donald Trump is of preparing for anything. He really didn't know that the topics in a political debate would be abortion and the economy and Russia and Israel. Like, it's politics, dude. How are you surprised about the questions? What did you think the questions were going to be about? Olympic swimming? It's not that Kamala had some advanced insight into the questions, it's that she knows what the hell she's talking about. Trump, meanwhile, does fawning interviews with Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham and Jesse Waters, does fawning rallies where he talks about imaginary cannibals and water pressure in toilets. Of course he doesn't know policy. He famously didn't even read any of his briefs when he was the president because he doesn't have the temperament, the qualifications, or the cognitive function to be in that job. That's not a reflection of the moderators or his opponent, it's a reflection of him. And finally, notice how Donald Trump said that the debate was rigged. Now, of course, the debate wasn't rigged. He just failed miserably on that stage, but it does betray what it means when Trump uses that word. He calls something rigged when he loses. He calls something rigged when he's not man enough to accept the outcome. He calls something rigged when he's too much of a baby to take the L. The debate wasn't rigged, just like the election results in 2020 weren't rigged, just like his trials and his prosecutions aren't rigged. Donald Trump is just a loser. It's not more complicated than that. In a way, I actually don't mind his little post-debate meltdown that he's doing right now, because just like at the debate itself, he's not actually convincing any one of his positions, but he is showcasing what a whiny little bitch he actually is. The guy has no impulse control, no ownership of his failings, no ability to take responsibility for his actions. He will deflect and blame and whine and stomp his feet. He is a 78-year-old child. The guy is running to lead the party of personal responsibility, and yet he can't function for 10 seconds without blaming someone else for something that he's done. Trump didn't lose the debate because of the moderators or his advisors or the rules or because of these absurd new little conspiracy theories popping up on the right, like this idea that Kamala was wearing an earpiece. He lost because he is a terrible candidate with zero understanding of the job that he's running for. And that incompetence was put on full display for the entire country to witness. Before you go, just a quick note, if you'd like to see more of my content, which is always free of advertising, sponsorships, and paywalls, please make sure to subscribe to this channel using the subscribe button right here on this screen. And if you'd like to support my work even further, you can grab a copy of my instant #1 New York Times selling book, Shameless, available for sale right now. That link is also on this screen. Thanks so much for watching.